What if your voice was stolen? What if trauma silenced you for years, making you believe you had nothing left to say? And then, what if that same silence became the seed of one of the most powerful voices the world has ever heard? This is the story of Maya Angelou, a woman who transformed silence into poetry, pain into power, and whose voice became a bridge between suffering and dignity. Maya Angelou was born in 1928 in St. Louis, Missouri, into a world already heavy with hardship. Her childhood was marked by racism, instability, and trauma. At just 8 years old, she was sexually abused. When she confided in her family, the man responsible was arrested but later released. Soon after, he was killed. The young Maya believed her words had killed him. The guilt was unbearable. So, she stopped speaking. For nearly 5 years, she lived in near silence. Imagine that 5 years without a voice, carrying a belief that your words could destroy. But silence became her training ground. In that quiet, Maya listened. She absorbed stories, memorized poetry, recited Shakespeare in her mind, studied the rhythm of life. She later said, "I fell in love with poetry, and I memorized it. And out of that love, I found my own voice again." Her silence didn't kill her voice, it deepened it. When she finally spoke again, her words carried weight, rhythm, and truth. Maya Angelou's life was anything but ordinary. She danced, sang, acted, lived abroad, and worked alongside leaders like Martin Luther King Jr. and Malcolm X. But it was her writing that would etch her name into history. Her autobiography, I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings, revealed her childhood struggles and triumphs with raw honesty. It broke barriers, challenged taboos, and became a voice for those who had none. Through poetry and prose, Maya spoke of freedom, identity, dignity, and hope. She gave voice not just to herself, but to generations of women, people of color, and anyone who had ever felt silenced. Psychologists call what Maya experienced post-traumatic growth, the phenomenon where people emerge from trauma with greater strength, clarity, and purpose. Experts in narrative therapy also emphasize the power of storytelling. By turning personal pain into narrative, we reclaim control over it. Maya's life embodies this. She didn't erase her trauma, she reframed it. She turned her silence into song, her wounds into wisdom. Her voice wasn't just art. It was medicine for herself and for millions. If Maya's life were a parable, it might sound like this. A little bird was caged, its wings clipped, its voice silenced. For years, it did not sing, but in its silence, it listened to the world. To the whispers of the wind and the rhythm of the rain. And when the bird finally sang again, its song was not just for itself, was for every bird that had ever been caged. That is Maya Angelou, the caged bird who taught the world the sound of freedom, We all carry moments of silence, times when trauma, fear, or rejection makes us feel voiceless. But Maya Angelou reminds us, your silence is not the end. It may be the soil from which your true voice grows. Your past doesn't define your future. Your wounds don't erase your worth. Sometimes, the very thing that tries to silence you becomes the reason the world needs to hear you. Maya Angelou showed us that freedom is not just about walking unchained. It's about speaking your truth, even when your voice trembles. It's about turning silence into song and pain into poetry. So here's my question for you. What silence are you still carrying? And what would it mean to give it a voice, not just for yourself, but for someone else who needs to hear it? Because the truth is, your voice matters. Your story matters. If Maya's story touched you, hit like so her voice continues to echo. Share this video with someone who feels silenced today. And don't forget to subscribe for more modern parable stories that remind us that no matter how deep the silence, a voice can always rise. Because sometimes one story is all it takes to set 1,000 caged birds free.